Hey, what's up, y'all? It's Poppin' His D, about to react to this vid by Patrick CC. This is the dark reality of Drake and Josh. They were never friends. Damn, I thought they were close. Why would you ruin my childhood by saying that? I love this show. Anyway, let's see what he's talking about. Let's watch.
People fall in love with their first image of you. We all fell in love with two best friends. Josh Peck, a chubby but lovable outsider
And their theme song was like one of the best ever.
from New York, and Drake Bell, a good-looking guitar player from California. The two teens couldn't be more opposite, but their chemistry together was infectious. While we fondly think of the brotherly love they displayed on television, the dark reality exposed by Josh Peck recently is that they were actually never friends.
Damn. Not even kind of cool.
Let's take it back to where Drake and Josh first met, The Amanda Show. This sketch comedy show was basically Nickelodeon's version of Saturday Night Live, starring Amanda Bynes. The show was wildly loved by Nickelodeon fans. Drake Bell was a regular character since the very first episode in 1999. Josh wouldn't become an on-screen regular until seasons 2 and 3. Slowly, he was integrated in the show, and those two had some iconic sketches that we still love today. Drake wasn't very fond of Josh in the beginning because he was the only boy on the show, but they had very similar interests in old movies and comedies. They would bounce funny ideas off each other and quickly developed great chemistry. The producer Dan Schneider got some pressure from the network to come up with another buddy comedy just like Keenan and Kel. While filming one of the last episodes of the season where Drake and Josh fight over a shrimp, Stephen Millaro, who was a writer on The Amanda Show, walked over to Dan and was like, "Those two guys are your buddy comedy right there." 6 months later, Drake and Josh was born. Make sure you're hydrated while watching this video.
Drake Bell and Josh Peck. They've grown up on The Amanda Show, battling lobsters, fending off frog puppets, and getting beaten up by girls on a regular basis. So what's next for this dynamic duo? Their own show. Nickelodeon presents Drake and Josh.
Love it!
Drake and Josh.
You'll notice in this video how all the tropes, storylines, and character traits in the Drake and Josh show turned out to be the exact opposite of how their real-life futures went. Josh went on to be a very successful, popular, and handsome actor. Megan, aka Miranda Cosgrove, went from evil little girl to sweet, unproblematic, successful actor. And Drake went on to plead guilty to child endangerment while still struggling to get his music career off the ground in America.
No, that's what I thought would happen.
Drake Parker and Josh Nichols were two brothers bound by their parents' marriage, forced to live in the same house, go to the same school, hang out with the same friends, while having totally opposite personalities. Josh was the hefty, emotional dork, while Drake was a smooth-talking ladies' man who led a rock band.
Stupid.
The first season was a little more typical to any sitcom, coming up with catchphrases and basic plot lines. Luckily, the show got much better after season 1. They consistently got themselves in ridiculous situations and had to either work together or against each other to get out of them.
No,
like when they came up with a master plan to sell Gary Coleman grills, which got them in jail, versus when they were fighting each other over a foam finger. In the beginning, it was very common that Josh was the butt of the joke. I mean, it's very easy to pick on the overweight, goofy kid. Drake, on the other hand, would often be the bad guy. He was lazy, rude, and self-centered. He wouldn't stand up for his brother Josh. He would hang out with girls and friends without him, and basically had a hard time accepting Josh as his brother. As the seasons went on, the audience loved them both. Josh was not a punching bag anymore, and sort of just the sweet, jolly brother who was there for Drake no matter what. Plus, he had lost a lot of weight by the last season, so the fat jokes didn't really work anymore. Drake warmed up to Josh. His character remained the inconsiderate troublemaker, but now Josh was having more luck with girls. He was less nerdy and became more competitive with Drake. Ultimately, at the end of every episode...
I didn't watch it no more after he lost weight. It's not because of that, obviously. I just think I, got interested in other shit, but... yeah, I don't remember him being skinny on the show.
All their differences included with a happy moment. These two just understood each other when it came to performing. Drake and Josh were the new age Bob Hope and Bing Crosby, Abbott and Costello, Martin and Lewis, Cheech and Chong, Keenan and Kel. They were so good it made us all believe that they were best friends beyond the screen. I'm sad to admit that that was not the case. Off the show, their lives were pretty normal in the sense that they weren't these mega famous celebrities ducking paparazzi everywhere they go. Plus, remember their target audience was 9 to 15-year-olds who had no way of showing Drake and Josh how much they loved the show. A lot of us forget that in 2005 there was barely any social media, there were no smartphones, no YouTube, no live streams, no follower counts. They worked a 9 to 5 while other kids went to school, and they went home to their families every day just like anyone else. These two just did what most normal teens do. Go to parties, hang out with girls, maybe get in some trouble. Well, at least Drake did. Josh wasn't partying much. Josh was actually going through some really tough times. Josh Peck was raised by a single mother. He actually never met his father. He was always interested in being an entertainer, doing stand-up comedy at the age of 9 years old because anything athletic was definitely out of the question. However, he always wanted to fit in. Being an outsider wasn't this cool, interesting thing for kids in the late 90s. Think about popular films and shows glamorizing high school life. You know, the jocks, the hot girls, the nerds. Kids like Josh Peck were hoping that they would be a part of the popular crowd and get invited to the parties when high school came. But we all know he wasn't. Drake was very similar similar to the character he portrayed on the show, a slick Cali bro who had girlfriends and went to parties as a teen. So them being very different worked on the show, but wasn't very practical in real life. I think they mentioned having sleepovers when they were casted on the Amanda show, but as they got older, they didn't hang out in their personal lives. Josh was sick and tired of being this version of himself he hated. It wasn't all vanity though. He knew he would keep getting casted as a fat funny guy for the rest of his career if he didn't make a change. He wanted to have a successful acting career, so that also inspired the weight loss which we witnessed on TV. As he started to lose weight, he was finally starting to fit in with the normal kids. So Josh started to do what normal kids do.
And suddenly, I'm like, now looking like a normal kid and a normal teen.
He kept that weight off.
Like, oh,
yes.
They do drugs, and that's normal. And they go to house parties, and they go to clubs.
It was a double-edged sword. Obviously, he was being accepted socially, but being heavily addicted to drugs was the price he had to pay. By the time they were both 20, Drake and Josh was over. Their relationship, it's complicated. Drake loved his time spent on the show. It was what he always dreamed of. His dad raised him on buddy comedies like Dean and Jerry, Abbott and Costello. Once he met Josh and they got their own TV show, he was living his biggest dream. Plus, he was absolutely adored by the Nickelodeon world. Taking a look at this list of Kids' Choice Awards, which is pretty much the biggest thing you can get as a Nickelodeon star. 2006, Favorite TV Actor, Drake Bell. 2007, Favorite TV Actor, Drake Bell. 2007, Best TV Actor, Drake Bell. 2008, Favorite TV Actor, Drake Bell. It was very clear that Drake was the star and Josh was the co-star. Despite Josh being funnier and more memorable in almost every aspect, Drake had full intentions on moving forward with his career alongside Josh, doing more movies and TV shows together just like the buddy comedy duos he idolized. Josh had other plans. Drake was never aware of what Josh was going through behind the scenes. Josh wanted to move on from the show. He was known as the fat funny punching bag, who brought way more comedic value to the scene. When we watch these old episodes, we feel happy. Josh sees an underappreciated, depressed, overweight, and insecure child hiding his true feelings from everyone. So he took his own route. Immediately after Nickelodeon, he got a voice acting role as Eddie in Ice Age. Got to star in the film The Whackness, which premiered at the Sundance Film Festival and was critically acclaimed. He basically stayed busy every single year since then, having a film or TV role, including the Fox sitcom Grandfathered, where he was a star alongside John Stamos. He became one of the most popular creators on Vine, which is where he would eventually meet David Dobrik, the Paul brothers, the Vlog Squad, and become a popular influencer on YouTube with millions of subscribers. Drake hung around Nickelodeon a little longer. He did star in a terrible Superbad remake movie called College, as well as a poorly received spoof comedy superhero movie. After that, for the next decade, a few small roles in a bunch of random movies that you never heard of. His career stayed alive because of consistent TV work given to him on Nickelodeon. He did tons of different voice acting roles and one-off shows throughout the years. His music career is actually very interesting. Disney knew how to set up their actors' music careers, whereas all Nickelodeon music careers struggled. Drake has no gold or platinum records in America despite releasing music consistently for the past 17 years. However, in Mexico and various Spanish-speaking countries, Drake Bell, aka Drake Campana, is a huge star. He's had multiple high-charting Billboard singles and albums in Mexico. In some of these countries, he does shows for thousands of people. He speaks Spanish, releases all his new music in Spanish, provides Spanish subtitles with everything he does. I'm not really sure how that all happened, but it's been very fruitful for him. In 2014, he filed for bankruptcy, owing over $500,000 in taxes. In 2016, he was arrested for his second driving under the influence charge. He served 1 day in jail and 4 years probation. When you're not invited to the wedding, the message is clear. True colors have come out today. Your message is loud and clear. Ties are officially cut. I'll miss you, brother. Summer of 2017, Josh got married to his longtime girlfriend, Paige, and Drake was not invited. The great fallout of Drake and Josh was the new viral gossip piece, and the internet was loving it. It seemed like just yesterday they were roommates playing ping pong and working at the movie theater. We thought Drake would be the best man. Turns out, he didn't even know about the wedding. The story blew up bigger than Drake could imagine. Thankfully, a couple months later, they made up and did some YouTube content together.
Back together again.
Wait, did I see this?
Then they both spent the next year or so doing press for other projects, and people just kept asking about the marriage incident. They had already publicly made up, but I guess interviewers wanted the drama. In 2018 and 2019, they made a number of different content pieces together, and it really seemed like their relationship was as good as it could get.
Guys, we're together. What else do you want?
In 2019, Josh came up with the idea to do a reboot of their classic show. The name of the reboot, Josh and Drake. When he reached out to Drake to read the script, things got weird. The idea was that Drake was...
Yeah, why are you changing the name? You doing too much. I'm getting that Josh is kind of the problem, to be honest. That's what I'm getting. I hate to say it because I fuck with Josh, but
going to be a failed musician, and Josh was a successful real estate agent. They were basically parodying Drake's real life as a musician in Mexico, while Josh's character was a totally made-up life. Maybe they were trying to get back at Drake because his character was originally the cool guy, and Josh was the loser. The opening line in the very first episode was supposed to be, "Hug yourself, kid," instead of their trademark saying, Hug me, brother, which would have just been a slap in the face to the fandom. Then it transitions to Drake in Mexico performing at a quinceañera for the daughter of a drug cartel leader, where they are all drinking and doing hard drugs, which leads to a gunfight, and then they don't want to give Drake his money,
what?
Which is all a super stereotypical way that Americans convey Mexican culture in Hollywood. Drake didn't want to do the Drake and Josh reboot without making some creative changes, because he didn't want to disrespect his Mexican fans. Josh wouldn't let Drake make those creative changes, and shortly after that, Drake started getting into his legal trouble. In 2020, Drake was outed by his ex-girlfriend Melissa on TikTok about how abusive he was in their past relationship, which went pretty viral. Drake denied all claims of physical abuse, but admitted he could be verbally abusive like a lot of couples get during a fallout. This story led to multiple other accusations, including one that would make the courtroom. He pled guilty via Zoom to a felony attempted child endangerment and a misdemeanor charge of disseminating matter harmful to juveniles in June of 2021. But Drake was accused of much worse, including sending explicit pictures and engaging in sexual activity with a minor. However, he only admitted guilt of sending text messages that were sexual and then stopped once he was aware of the victim's age. The situation is definitely creepy. And there are a lot of other factors to consider which have been broken down extensively on YouTube. But the internet is not convinced that Drake is innocent of the harsher things he was accused of. His social reputation has obviously been ruined because of this. Which leads us to today. Josh Peck recently made some big claims on a podcast that he and Drake were never friends.
Are you guys, like, not friends?
Not really, no.
He told a number of different lies on these podcasts that are starting to make fans question everything.
I knew that Drake and I didn't stay in touch for the 10 years since we had made the show, but no one needed to know that.
Here they are in 2012 at what appears to be a house party. Here they are spending Christmas together in 2013. Here are multiple instances of them hanging out in 2014. In 2015, they had Drake come on Josh's show, Grandfather.
I think it's just an opportunity for Drake and I to be working together again, and obviously we love each other.
Plus, Drake says that they talked when Josh announced that he was engaged. To suggest that they at least didn't stay in touch is wild.
He was surprised he wasn't invited then? If he's going bananas on you?
He's surprised, but then he takes to the internet and he starts writing these tweets that immediately, like, catch fire. And so then he, like, leans in and goes on this press tour about how heartbroken he is.
Drake tweeted two things, and the internet dragged them out. Plus, there was no press tour. Then 2 months after that, they made up publicly and made some YouTube content together. After they made up publicly, Drake and Josh, throughout the next year, would talk about the marriage incident in various interviews. So I think Josh is just remembering things incorrectly.
I was at the Music Awards, and I see him there, and he sees me. And I go up to him, like, and this might be the most Sopranos thing I've ever done. And I look at him and I go apologize to my wife right now.
Josh literally filmed himself walking up to Drake. Does this look like how a gangster moves?
And is that the last communication?
Pretty much.
The VMAs was in August of 2017. Since then, they have filmed multiple YouTube videos together, worked on a Drake and Josh reboot, and I can only imagine they spent time together in their personal lives as well. That is not even close to the last time that they've had communication. Drake just recently started a podcast called Drake and Janet, with the same branding, which is just kind of weird, bro. Like, let it go. Drake still says nothing but good things about Josh, and wants nothing more for them to be friends again. After all, the Drake and Josh show was the biggest and most successful thing that Drake has ever done, which isn't the same thing for Josh. He has absolutely destroyed his social reputation, and him repairing his relationship with Josh might be the only thing that could win over the people's trust again. However, it's pretty evident that Josh wants nothing to do with Drake. While he may be lying about them never being friends, he has made it very clear that since the show ended in 2007, he wanted to no longer be the secondary character, the fat funny guy, Drake's sidekick, and he worked extremely hard to build a career off his comedy and creative vision. Who could have ever guessed that their real life situation would turn out exactly like the episode Josh is done?
Come on, dude, I said I was sorry.
Yeah, I heard you.
Well, stop being mad at me.
I'm not mad at you.
I'm done with you.
What is that supposed to mean?
I don't want anything to do with you anymore.
Josh, what? Look, I'm sorry. Well, look, let me finish, okay? I was wrong, okay? I was wrong.
Damn.
What do you mean?
I need you more than you need me. I need you way more than you need me, all right? I'm sorry. I just need you to understand that. Sorry, Josh. I'm sorry.
Oh, this really sucks. I wanted them to be close. What the hell? But I do have a theory. I feel like maybe one of two things took place, or maybe a combination of both. Maybe Drake treated Josh really poorly. So he probably put him down a lot, made fun of him because of his weight, and, made it clear that he was the favorite of the show. That people fucked with him, and they were there to see him. you know? So when Josh was done with the show, he was like, fuck you, I'm done, I'm moving on by myself. You were a terrible person to me, you treated me badly, fuck you. That could have taken place. And maybe Josh just was jealous of Drake the whole time. Drake was the one getting all the awards, getting all the attention. People thought he was so fine for whatever fucking reason. So Josh was living in Drake's shadow, so he probably built this resentment up towards him after all these years. So when he was able to thrive and, do shit on his own, he was just like, not wanting that reminder of the time in his life where he felt so inadequate when he was on the show. I feel like that could be the case. So he just wants to put him down and keep him down. He probably gets some type of, satisfaction from knowing that Drake fell from grace. And, he wasn't as successful as he was. And he lost this weight and was like, oh yeah, I'm the big nigga now. I'm the one who, is the best out of us two now. Now what? So it's probably some of that energy taking place. I don't know. These are just, my guesses. But yeah, I think it's unfortunate that they didn't go on to be besties, because what the fuck? That's what the show was about. Like, what the hell? Y'all let me know what y'all thought, though. Let me know what other videos you want to watch, and I'll see y'all on the next one. Bye!